the Haitian Revolution, there were four principal players in regards to the leadership of the Haitian Revolution. The first one was Macandal.
Macandal is considered to be the precursor to the 1791 beginning, because Macandal was an enslaved African who worked at a plantation, and then he died in 1757 or 1758, but he freed himself, right? Some people say that, you know, he had lost one arm in a sugar mill accident. But essentially, the legend of Macandal is interesting because he foretold what would happen with regards to the Haitian Revolution.
He was this extraordinary herbalist, and what he did, he taught the people of Haiti, the Africans, how to use the herbs and fauna in the ecology that they're now in to poison the food of the white farmers. And he was very successful.
And so Macandal went took to the hills, and he would teach the kitchen people how to poison their masters.
They had nature on their side, and that's very important. They used nature as one of their greatest weapons. They knew the terrain, they understood the terrain, they understood botany, they understood toxicology, they understood poisons, they understood, and that's what Voodoo is. Voodoo is a science. Voodoo is not just a spiritual system.
The Bafiote means the black collaborators. They had to get them out of their face first. Macandal, what he's really known, a lot of what he went after them first. Before he poisoned the European, he poisoned the black collaborators. No, they were all in the house Negroes, come on.
And one thing about Macandal, he realized this. He understood that the black collaborators, we call them coons today, how they will sabotage black progress in order to get individual trinkets. So Macandal, he saw that early on. So when it came to poisoning the white supremacists, Macandal, he understood that we gotta get rid of these collaborators first. So he poisoned many of the black collaborators before he started to poison the white slave owners.
If you look at the statutes, the laws of a place like Georgia in the 1750s, contemporaneous with that revolt on Hispaniola, you'll find laws that are specifically seeking to restrain Africans from getting knowledge of plants because it was feared that they had in mind a plot or a conspiracy similar to what unfolded in what is now Haiti in the 1750s.
See, African people used strategies that they knew would work. Macandal, another great revolutionary, he poisoned the French. And the women were the ones that poisoned them when they would prepare foods. He killed over 6,000 European Frenchmen.
When the enslaved Africans were finished with their work, he went down to talk to them. Like, he would always go down and talk to them. And at one night, he took out 3 handkerchiefs. A yellow handkerchief, a white handkerchief, and a black handkerchief. And he said to the audience, in terms of storytelling, because that's how we give information through stories. So he took out the first handkerchief, and he said to the enslaved Africans, first handkerchief was yellow. He says, these are the people that owned this island before Columbus came, and they were totally annihilated. Then he took out the white. He says, the white handkerchief, these are the folks that, annihilated the Tainos. And then he took out the black handkerchief, and this is the prophecy. He says, we Africans are going to avenge the Taino folks, and we're going to get these white folks out of Haiti.
And so Macandal used his science, and I think he was a kind of pharmacologist in modern terms, but he used his science of understanding the natural world to begin to talk about how do we take that knowledge and free ourselves. And Macandal, he's sort of the spark of the Haitian Revolution.
When you look at many of the people coming up out of this system, for instance, Macandal was a preacher. And Macandal was a preacher who told his people and the people around him that he had visions. There's such a connection between Macandal and Nat Turner as it relates to the work that they were doing.
Macandal understood the problem with the collaborators, and unfortunately, it was a black collaborator who turned Macandal in, who turned on him. And the French captured Macandal, and they were going to burn him alive. When Macandal was about to die, he made a very strange prediction. Macandal said, I'm coming back as a mosquito. Now, a lot of people didn't know what that meant. Years later, when the French came to invade the island, there was a certain number of French troops, thousands of them, who were killed by malaria brought on by mosquitoes. Now, the malaria skipped over the Africans because they were immune to the malaria. But the Macandal prediction definitely came true. That just showed how spiritually in touch they were.